basically the thing about gardening or farming is what you end up doing most of the time is moving piles of stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Move materials here, move it there,
Right.
move it, and it's
moving
always
plants
changing.
into the bed, moving them out,
it's
harvesting
like,
them and moving them. Yeah.
you're just always moving stuff. And so how can we minimize how many times we have to cart things up and down hills? Hello, and welcome back to the Griffin Family Farmcast. We're finally back. It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks. We had to do the holidays, and we got cats. More like we got our cats back, and we moved.
We got our cats back because we moved away, and we couldn't have cats where we lived for 3 years.
So we fostered them. And
yep, Cassidy's sister and her husband
took them.
Graciously took them in.
And
Sasha
now
and Phoebe.
Have two, and Sasha's over there attacking the rug. So here we are, back for another episode. It's been a while. I thought today we could talk about goal setting, some of the big goals that we have set, and then also like I thought of a bunch of different categories that people could consider a specific goal they could set in that category, like compost and seed starting and stuff like that. So we're going to give a suggestion for like if you're a beginner gardener, and maybe maybe if you've done something for a while and you want a new goal. So we'll do two kind of options. Yeah, so that's what I thought we'd talk about today.
That's great.
Yeah, so got a lot to talk about. So our sponsor today is the soil blocker. I just made 880 of these the other day with the mini, so you can fit 20 in the mini, 20 blocks. And I just started our Lysianthus seeds, so I did 4 trays, 880, and that's not all the Lysianthus we're going to do. We've got mini trays ahead of us. So the soil blocker is my friend. I have spent a lot of time with the soil blocker, and I think the mini, it's plastic, so it could break, but the medium is fully metal, and the mechanism is so simple that I don't think our soil blocker will ever break, like our medium one.
Yeah,
I think we'll be making soil blocks with the medium until the day we die.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine we'll upgrade size.
Oh, sure. But I'll always keep that one for sentimental reasons.
But there might be some reasons that some years we start less.
But this is basically our replacement for all plastic pots. So we don't use any plastic pots to start our seeds or plastic trays. We use plastic trays, but they'll be reusable for decades.
Yeah, we use dining
trays.
Yeah, like cafeteria trays. Yep. Yeah. Yep. And we do use pots to start.
But not to start
to house plants.
Hundreds and hundreds of seeds.
No.
It's like that would be so many plastic pots. Yeah. Which we also try and reuse our plastic pots. Or we upcycle red Solo cups that people give us. So the soil blocker is our sponsor today. No one is giving me money for this to sponsor. I just genuinely think a soil blocker is the way forward for all seed starting because it's just so simple. All I need is a tray and my soil blocker and my potting mix, and I'm good to go. Yeah. And some seeds, and it's just simple. Yeah. It's great.
Requires some muscles, and a grip strength.
Well, and I think like everything, there's a skill. Like you learn a certain skill and a finesse to handling this thing, and then once you kind of get the feel for it, you're off to the races. Right. So
at what point do you think that someone, can I see this? So this is a 20 blocks, which hypothetically means 20 plants.
Yes.
20 plant starts. Some people will just grow their seeds in mini blocks and then just put them out in the ground.
Stop it.
But we usually transfer.
We have in the past because we've been on a home gardening scale. Mm-hmm. On our farm scale, we're not.
We're just gonna grow them out and free ball it.
We're growing almost everything except for large seeds because large seeds are almost bigger than the mini blocks. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna grow almost everything in minis because that's what we have space for.
Sure.
Because we're going from
seed starting
1,000 to 2,000 seeds to 15,000.
Right. Yeah. Seeds. So at what point does someone need to? So the mechanism that you're talking about too. Yeah. Just to continue to plug this product that we're not getting paid for, but it's you scoop up soil, potting soil, in these little things, and it has to be pretty fine. We've finely sift our potting mix, and it makes these blocks, these little cubes, and then
With a little indent for the seed.
To release the cubes, or the blocks, you press this down, and it shoots them out, and then they have a little divot on the top where you can put the seed, and then you mulch with vermiculite or something over the top. So at what point, how many seeds do you have to be starting every year to upgrade to the 20 mini blocker? At what point does it make sense as opposed to the 4?
Okay, so we were on, what were we growing on at the White House?
Gosh, I don't even know if we ever fully determined that.
I mean, it was a city lot.
Feet.
It was an average city lot.
Yeah. It was a decent sized city lot.
It was a nice sized city lot, but it was a tiny house.
And there was hardly any growing space that was viable. Yeah.
So I used the mini a ton. And I started 1,000 to 2,000 seeds.
Yeah.
So I used the mini a lot.
So then if someone's starting 100 seeds,
no, they probably need the medium.
Probably just want to use the medium. If you're starting,
so Branch and Blossom, Brianne. So she's got a YouTube channel. She has done some comparisons on the overall health of a seedling from the mini to the medium. And if you start your seed in the medium, it will be a healthier seedling. Just hands down.
The medium.
The medium. From the very beginning. If you start your seeds from the very beginning in the medium soil block, it will be a healthier plant. However, if you don't have space, you're kind of like quantity, quality,
Right.
And the mini, it's not like they produce unhealthy plants. It's just that the medium soil block plants are healthier than the mini.
Yeah.
So that is something to consider. Like if you do have the space for the medium, I would go for the medium. But if you're starting 1,000, 2,000, or 15,000 seeds, you have to start with the mini because that's probably all you have space for. Like I can start over 200 seeds on one tray. With the medium, I can do 35.
Right, and the tray is like a foot
cafeteria tray
by
that
a foot and a half.
At school. Yeah, so it's I don't know what the inches are, but 35 versus 200.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't even compare that. So if you have the space, go for the medium soil blocker because you will have healthier plants. But the mini is a lifesaver for people in small spaces who want to start lots of seeds, which is probably a lot of people who are watching this channel. Okay, that's our sponsor. That was a lot to say. Okay, what's happening on the farm garden this week?
Well, a lot has happened.
Oh my gosh, so much has happened.
We got back from the holidays and jumped back into the yard. And, well, right before we left, I started creating our veggie patch. So it's not quite the farm. But for that, I'm making hugelkultur beds. Yeah. And I'll showcase kind of maybe a more in-depth video on that, how to install those at some point. But we're using leftover wood debris, logs, sticks, branches from around the property, because there's just, if you have trees on the property, you're always going to have wood debris. And speaking of trees, we're really clearing the space. I mean, we've got a whole section of our yard that's just kind of been the yard waste dump site for years. And two things there that we're doing, I mean, picking it up, sorting the sticks out, trying to get the leaves and pine needles out so that we can make that part of our growing space. We also are removing some trees. We're taking them out because they're just kind of blocking some prime real estate. And it's a bummer to kill off some trees, but I think that the ecological value add that we'll hopefully be bringing with our farm is going to offset the loss.
Well, so the two trees we're cutting down, one is a crabapple that drops its crabapples everywhere.
Yeah, and
so we're not going to be able to grow in there.
Sure.
It's gone now.
Yeah, right.
And then the other one that we're cutting down is the cherry tree that drops all its cherries everywhere, and it's too big of a cherry tree. The cherry tree is taller than our house. We cannot reach the cherries.
And we have a 2-story house.
Yeah, a 2-story house. Physically cannot reach the cherries on the tree.
Right. Any of them.
So the birds and the bugs get them. And then the rest of them fall and become sticky cherry bombs, and then attract all the yellow jackets. So we can't grow in that area either, which is a huge area. So
it's hard to
massive.
Yeah, it's
the biggest cherry tree I've ever seen. It's
really hard to describe. I mean, we'll show pictures. I'm sure we've shown pictures, but it's actually more like 6 cherry trees. I haven't counted, I don't think, but it's like 6 cherry trees coming off of a mother stump. That's the mother stump is like the size of some of our firs.
Yeah.
In the front yard.
Yeah.
And I think that it honestly might be taller than some of our firs.
Yeah.
It's so tall. So yeah. So we're getting rid of that. And we haven't started removing that yet, but we got rid of most of the crabapple tree. And we'll probably over time replant crabapples and cherries. Crabapples because they're cool plants, and I really like the idea of being able to make our own vinegar on site for that.
Okay, so
and I already made
Florette's doing this huge crabapple project. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
There are crabapples that you can eat.
Yeah, totally.
I don't think they're necessarily like apples, but they're close. And they're like crosses between crabapples and apples, basically.
Yeah. Well, we can make cider. We can make apple cider vinegar. And then they're also, they're pretty. They have a different kind of thing for each season.
They're great blossoms in the spring.
Right.
And a lot of them, like, in the fall, they change the leaves, or just a lot of varieties of color. So
the main thing I think there is just the placement of it. And I picked up, hundreds of crab apples with our kids, and am trying to make a giant vinegar batch that's a couple gallons. It's just fermenting on our counter over there. And so hopefully we'll get that out of it, and then we'll have the lumber that we can age and burn into charcoal to make biochar, which is another thing that
which we're going to try in our potting soil in replacement of vermiculite.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So it's all staying on the property.
Yeah.
It's just being repurposed and utilized in other ways.
Yeah.
So
it's all going to end up in the soil in the potting mix, or in hugelkultur beds, or in the charcoal somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm starting seeds. We got our seeds set up, and we started I started Lysiantha seeds. I'm doing an experiment, which we're hopefully going to do a video on.
Yep.
I'm doing 4 different. So I've got the tray that's just potting soil and water as the control. Then I've got a tray that's a KNF input water. So into the water I hydrate the potting mix with. I do LAB, OHN, vinegar, and FPJ.
Which for people who don't have the acronyms memorized.
Fermented plant juice, oriental urban nutrient, vinegar, and lactic acid bacteria, along with soft water. I always use soft water because we have our filter.
Filtered, dechlorinated.
Yep. And so that's tray 2. Tray 3 is that same water input with the KNF inputs, plus I'm going to fertilize it once a week with fermented plant juice and LAB. So it's going to basically continue, because Lysianthus stay on the tray for 4 months. They're like extremely long amount of time. Yep. And so they're susceptible to a lot of fungal growth.
Will Lysianthus stay in the mini soil blocks the entire?
Yes. They won't even get that big. By the time we plant them out, they'll be like,
it's crazy.
This big. They grow very slowly, which is why we're starting them now. Okay, so that's the third one. I'm going to fertilize it once a week to see if there's any noticeable difference. And then the fourth one is a combo of the KNF water inputs and IMO4.
Right.
Which is very exciting. We had some IMO4 to add in, and I'm just excited to see if it makes any much of a difference. And then, the other thing is user error. This is my first time doing Lysianthus, and I'm trying to keep them moist all the time, and I've got them under plastic wrap because we don't have humidity domes, and I've got them under the lights, and I had them on heat mat, but then the heat mat was like 90 degrees, and I'm like, they're only supposed to be 70 degrees. So anyway, so we'll see if I messed up this whole batch by putting them at 90 degrees for 24 hours, but I can always do another one. So anyways, that's what we're doing on the farm. Very exciting. It's very exciting to like start seeds and be like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, we're going to plant these and try and sell them. And doing the math of like, okay, if I could sell this for this much money, this tray would be, hypothetically, if everything grew, which it won't, but everything did, this is the dollar amount that this tray is worth. And that's just like really exciting because it's like, oh, it's real. Like, we're really going to be a farm and sell stuff. And I don't know, that's cool. Okay. Anything else about the farm?
Phoebe, the cat, just heard their automatic food dispenser going off all the way downstairs.
And she booked it.
And just bolted. Yeah.
Galloped.
Well, Sasha is probably feasting on her portion.
Yeah, I don't think Phoebe's in need of more food.
No. I don't think anything else is happening other than it snowed, and that kind of halts progress on a lot of garden projects, which is a bummer, but
yeah, it snowed like over 4 inches in an hour.
Yeah.
It's a lot. The kids have been loving it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about goals. So the purpose of this episode is to offer a suggestion for one goal that a new gardener could have for different areas. So they have a goal for their seed starting, a goal for their compost for this season. And then also we could offer a second one to someone who's maybe they've made compost before and they need a new goal to work towards this year. We're going to share what ours are for this year in these different categories, and then we'll give a suggestion for what people could do. And then they can modify and change it. It's just a starting place, basically.
Yeah.
So our first question is, what are some of our goals for 2026? And the first category is seed starting.
Yeah. Well, and I think that goal setting in general, the way that we see it is it just gives us something to shoot for. Yeah. Puts something on the map that we can walk toward.
You'll achieve way more.
Yeah.
If you have a goal, even if you don't get to the goal.
Right. And so I don't know if we have formally talked about any of our goals. Well, we've got plenty of goals that we've formally talked about. But as far as you said seed starting to start?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any particular ones. I mean, I want to do, I want to continue to do some side-by-side comparisons. Yeah. So that's probably the main thing we're going to run. We're running the trial that you mentioned with Lysianthus. That's a huge one because Lysianthus is susceptible to the Fusarium oxysporum.
Right. We're going to, yeah. And that will be later on when we plant it out, but we'll do trials on it.
Right. And we'll just see, we'll track if these were inoculated and are able to withstand or survive. And so that's one. And then I'm doing another potting mix trial that's in the works where we compare how seeds grow in our homemade potting mix and a store-bought organic high quality potting mix and a full cultured homemade potting mix that is it's basically IMO 5, indigenous microorganisms stage 5. We take the IMO from capturing it to preserving and diversifying and integrating it with our local soil on our farm, and then we make potting mix with that. And I just want to see, a kind of a side-by-side difference and see if there's a difference in germination rates, a difference in plant health overall over the course of, some time. I think it's going to be a really helpful, informative, interesting video to track. So
you'd say our goal for seed starting is to test out what we do. We do these different things. We use the KNF inputs. We use the different potting mix recipes. This season's goal is to test them against a control.
Right. And
see if there is a difference.
Yeah, totally. And I think we've kind of decided and talked about how that sort of is that's what our farm is, in a sense, is we want to be a test farm.
Yeah.
We also want to sell. We would like to make some income from our farm as well.
Yes.
That would be pretty ideal, pretty essential. But we, at the same time, we've got this YouTube channel, and we want to be able to offer helpful insights and ideas for people. And so I think that's going to be a helpful one.
Well, I think the most common negative comment we've gotten is basically poo-pooing it all and saying it's irrelevant and doesn't work and it doesn't make a difference and all that. And it's just like, it's interesting. Like, there's a lot of people that say that, a lot of comments. And so I'm like, man, I feel like there's a room for some experiment videos of, hey, look, it actually does work. So like, that's my hypothesis, is that actually it's going to make a difference and we're going to be able to tell and see the difference. Yeah. Okay, what about a goal for new garden beds? What's our goal? Make them all.
Yeah. Well, we've got areas where our property is complex, or it's a complicated arrangement right now, because we've got these different zones within the yard that have been treated in slightly different ways over time. And so I'd say the lower part of our property is maybe one of the more, it's got like a ton of foot traffic and it's been driven on, unfortunately, and it's received probably the least amount of care. So there's also a cedar down there, and so that we had removed years ago, but it's still probably
a cedar tree.
Yeah. And so I think the soil's probably a bit compacted. Probably need to give it a one-time till, although we'll check it. And we've spread compost there before, and our renters grew sunflowers.
I think they tilled it
in that field. Or did they till it?
Well,
once?
She made the circle thing.
Yeah, it's hard to know if she tilled it or if she dug it out, but yeah. But so there's that space. Anyway, you've been telling me that you want to use that space to grow at least some. We're also going to put our composting chicken coop operation down there. And then the main part that we're going to grow is in the backyard where the cherry tree looms over. And so the main thing there is that the garden beds were 30 inches and we want to make them 48 inches. And so we need to redig the pathways, but it doesn't really matter because the pathways have been scattered and are, missing anyway. So we need to dig out our beds, dig out the pathways, mound the beds, mulch them with compost, assess and address the organic material composition, because the organic matter in the soil is what contains a lot of the insoluble nutrients that our microorganisms are going to be able to digest and transport to our plants to feed them. So the good news there is that our soil hasn't been reliant on synthetic fertilizers. So hypothetically, the microbial cultures in our soil have not atrophied. The main thing is that weed seeds have blown in, so there have been plant roots in the ground. But I'm rambling here. I think our goal
is not just go in and create each garden bed the same, but to take a minute, observe, and consider the best way to form it.
Yeah.
Using all the different methods we have that we've learned over the years, and not, just saying, oh, this is the way, instead of saying this is the way you have to do it, actually just stepping back and taking a moment to observe. And then be like, oh yeah, I think this spot needs to be tilled. Okay, this spot doesn't need to be tilled, and we need to do cardboard or whatever. Like, I think the goal is to not just rush ahead with the same method everywhere, but to take some time and consider what we'll do, and then make the garden beds in the best way possible that we've learned to do it for that type of soil. So I think that's kind of the goal. of the farm is to not just make assumptions about what will work everywhere the same.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that's our goal for the garden beds, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about compost? What's a goal that we have for compost?
Yeah, this is a big project because compost sits at kind of it's a cornerstone element of any small scale farm, any no-till market garden style farm. So the goal there is to set up our station.
Yeah.
And so one of the mantras of a lot of market gardeners, and I think that Han Kyu Cho said this, is that the chicken coop is the engine of the farm or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's just the sheer ability to generate fertility in the form of compost when you feed or when you put organic chicken bedding with chickens, they just make compost for you. Yeah. So I am designing a system that really makes the whole process run smoothly and is easy for us to bring in materials, dump them into the chicken run, the chickens can process them, and then easy to pull out and finish composting. And the reason we want to finish that is because if we're using it mid-season and we pull out just chicken manure, chicken bedding, it's hot with nitrogen. And so we want to process that nitrogen with the carbon material. And anyway, there's a lot of stuff.
We kind of want a system where on one side you can dump in the load of manure we get from the local farmer. And on the other side, you can open it up and draw it all out into the compost system. So it's sort of this like funnel. Yeah.
And then the compost system feeds right into the farm.
And then the other goal of it is we used to have the chickens more up the hill, and we're bringing it down so that we don't have to like cart uphill. We will finish the compost downhill and have to cart the compost, but we won't have to go up, down, up, down. Yeah. We're basically trying to minimize, because basically the thing about gardening or farming is what you end up doing most of the time is moving piles of stuff. Yeah. That's what it feels like. Move materials here, move it there.
Right.
Move it, and it's
moving
always
plants
changing.
into the bed, moving them out, harvesting them and moving them. Yeah.
You're just always moving stuff. And so how can we minimize how many times we have to cart things up and down hills? Right. And move them. And so it's like, we're putting the chicken coop right where our like access road is to the property, so that the local farmer can just back right up to it, dump off the manure. Manure goes in the coop, or out in the run, goes out of the run into the compost bays, goes out of the compost bays into the rest of the farm.
Yeah. And in case anyone's wondering why we feed our chickens manure as bedding, is because it's mixed. It's a clean manure. Yeah. It's mixed with straw, and so it's got some good carbon-rich material. And then the manure, it's horse and goat manure, and it comes kind of loaded up with maggots that our chickens love pecking out and eating. So much. And so it's not like gonna make them sick to scratch through manure. It just works for them, and it's dried. It's not like sloppy wet poop, right? Yeah. It's like it's horse turds that are just, they look like...
And it's not really their bedding, it's more like they're like processing it like they're little factory workers for us.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyway. So that's our compost goal, is get that system set so we can just make compost really quickly. Yeah. Okay, what about our liquid amendments goal for this season?
Yeah. We've said this before in other podcasts. I think a big goal is to really nail down and just see, with a lot of repetition, the nutritive cycle theory play out. We've used it before. I used it last season and a little bit the previous season. But the idea that you feed plants nutrients at specific stages, it's just a really cool, really elegant part of the Korean natural farming system. And so it'll be fun to be able to do it a million times, and just be like, oh, okay, these flowers are starting to bud. We're switching to water-soluble calcium phosphate, and we're going to start phasing out fermented plant juice and fish amino acids. And same with our veggies too. We'll have, a really, really substantial veggie patch.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably for our liquid amendments. We've got them all.
Mm-hmm.
We've got them all made.
We've made them all, so now we're onto the step of testing them to see if they actually work. Not because we don't believe that they do, but I think it's like good to Korean natural farming and natural farming just in general just needs more data.
Yeah. It needs more people.
We want to contribute to that data.
Getting their hands on the inputs, using them.
Yeah.
Getting in the nitty-gritty and making observations. So, yeah totally.
Yeah. Okay, what about soil amendment? It's kind of as compost, but is there any specific goal for us? I think it's like probably using charcoal in our potting mix.
That's a big one for sure. Yeah.
Testing that out this season.
Yeah. I should say too, we started repurposing our YouTube shorts on TikTok just to expand our audience a bit, start doing that. And so then I found someone on TikTok whose channel is called Find Them, Plant Them. And he is who turned me on to the idea of using, especially the little bits, the little tiny sandy bits of charcoal as a perlite or a vermiculite replacement.
Yeah, because we're trying to figure out how to create a 100% free potting mix.
Right. Something you can make on site from just everything you have.
So we're going to try leaf mold for our cocoa core / what would be peat moss in your average potting mix. And then for vermiculite or perlite, we're going to do charcoal to try that. So then we make our own compost, make our own leaf mold, make our own charcoal.
Right.
There you go. We pay the farmer a couple $100 for all the manure we get. Yeah. So it'd come out to a couple pennies tops.
Yeah, and I think over time also, I don't think we'll need to be carting in manure. It's just that initial, we might even, it's possible that we'll bring in compost for just the initial replenishment of some soil. It's possible. I don't know quite yet. We haven't done all the calculations, but there's just such a huge, massive amount for the farm. But I think that over time, the way we're building this thing is so that it's designed so that it will just generate its own compost on site. Yep. There's enough. We're not like tapping out the land and taking. We're actually growing these beneficials, and we talk about this. I think the video we'll probably post this week. That maybe that this one posts
Tuesday.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Cool. Okay. So let's go back to the top. Seed starting. So try to answer this as concisely as possible because we have 5 categories.
Yep. I know now.
So we can't be as long-winded with each one. So if you were a new gardener, what is a goal for seed starting that they could have this season?
Okay. A goal for seeds. If they're a new gardener, I would say starting seeds at all.
Yeah.
Like really, if you've never started seeds, just buy an organic potting mix from the store and start seeds.
Buy some potting mix. Buy for veggies some lettuce seed.
Sure. Tomatoes.
Super easy. Tomatoes. Yeah. So lettuce seeds, probably the easiest. Tomato, maybe medium easy or medium difficulty. And then for flowers, the easiest ones would be zinnia. Zinnias or cosmos. So I just get those seeds and
yarrow. You've said in the past.
Yarrow for a perennial.
Yeah.
Like yarrow will just seed itself.
Yarrow is a dynamite plant to have around anyway.
Yes, it will spread. So beware.
Borage.
Borage will also spread. Very easy to start. If the seed is very large, so like a zucchini seed or a pumpkin seed, those are oftentimes very easy seeds to start because the larger the seed, the more energy the seed has in it, and so it just is a faster germination rate and all that. So big seeds,
higher germination rate?
A higher germination, and they're fast. They germinate very quickly. So sunflowers, also very easy to start from seed. So that'd be a great thing to do. If you're someone who you've started seeds before, what's a goal that you could have in the natural farming sphere? You want to, try dipping your toe into toes into like a natural farming seed starting
thing,
what could they try?
I think it's probably the seed soak solution. What you were talking about, the fermented plant juice, lactic acid bacteria, high quality vinegar, and oriental orbital nutrient. You can use one of those to start.
LAB would be super easy.
Yeah. LAB, if you can't, if you have any of the others, for sure, do that too. But the seed soak solution is such a easy pre-step. And I think, I feel like we swear by it. We've seen our germination rates go way up.
And we're going to officially be testing this out this season. But yes, I'd say we've seen, germination rates radically different. Yeah. Okay. What about starting new garden beds for a brand new, they have no garden bed started. They go out. What should they do? What should their goal be?
Yeah. Whew.
You kind of talk about this in the video or somewhere. It's better to start small.
Yeah, totally. I think, decide. This goes to our garden planning roadmap resource. I think you want to decide your goal. Decide your goal for what you want to get out of it. And then also look at your resources, your time that you can devote, your financial resources. So maybe that means you buy some lumber and you put a little raised bed in. Or if you've got a little bit more money and you could buy one of the Epic Gardening high quality, like, what are those made out of? They're the metal garden beds. Yeah. And you just fill a raised bed and get your hands dirty.
We have a video on how to fill a raised bed hugelkultur style. So it's cheaper.
Right.
Yep. Hello.
Surprise appearance from Sasha.
Yeah.
I think it's...
Stop it.
I don't know if it's much more complicated than that. It's like really just starting one bed. Maybe like if you don't have anything, and I'm trying not to be long-winded here. If you don't have anything, just try and get that bed made before the season starts. And then as you start growing, you can put in another one.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
So you walked out with a shovel and you dug the grass out of a spot, and that's where we grew.
Right.
In that one spot. Yeah. Okay, what if you've got some garden beds established? What could you do for your garden beds to make them better this year?
I always think that the investment that you can, a really incredible investment that you can make is looking into indigenous microorganisms. So if you never have, we usually say go for the Jadon microbial solution. Culture that leaf mold soil in water it in your garden beds, water feeding it potatoes. You got to check out our videos because I'm botching the explanation. If you've made that, then move on to IMO collection, the Korean natural farming style. And we've got plenty of videos going over the nitty gritty of that. But I think that is just the natural progression that I usually recommend for people. If I'm able to work with someone more closely, I will probably try and move them. I'll get them started with JMS, Jadon microbial solution, and then very quickly, now let's try and collect some indigenous microbes so that we can get those super healthy fungal cultures, because that's just incredible. Incredible way to saturate your garden. So with the best microbes that'll just be there forever. And so maybe that's two levels. I think the IMO route is just a great upgrade for your existing garden beds.
Cool. Okay, what about compost? So I've never made compost before. How would you start making compost?
Well, if you've never made compost before, I think you just need to make your first hot compost pile. I know I was going to say just decide where you're going to throw your food scraps. But I think if you're watching this podcast and you're this deep, you're probably a serious enough gardener, or just think we're cool. And and so I'd say I think that people should really just get the feeling of starting a hot compost pile. It feels incredible.
Yeah.
To stack up ingredients and just put your hand in them in the pile, and it's like burning.
Yeah.
It's a really wild experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of numb to it at this point. Because I've done it so many times now. But I think that's probably something, because then you learn the process of like, okay, I do need a lot of materials to make this work. If I'm going to stack it 3 feet high and have it be 3 feet wide and, or 3 feet in diameter, I'm going to need to stockpile leaves. I got to source grass clippings, or maybe some local farmers' manure, or I need to use my chickens' manure, or I need to start growing more comfrey, whatever it is. And I think that's a great first thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people, she's gonna be like right next to your mic. I think people are really intimidated by hot compost.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And maybe they think it's just like elusive enough. Like it's not super cut and dry, or like they might happen to get it one time but not another time.
Sure.
But like I don't think they know that you can just like redo the pile and try again. Like it's not like baking, where once you take it out of the oven to check it, it's done baking and it's
useless.
Yeah.
If it was ruined. Totally. Yeah, right. You've got organic material that
you can try it again
didn't
to
quite
heat them up.
You just got to add more nitrogen, or add more water, or aerate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's low stakes.
Yeah. I think people think that like you have to get it the first time, like, or it's just like that stuff is wasted.
Interesting. Yeah. Right.
And yeah.
Not the case.
Not the case. No. Okay. What about like they've made a bunch of compost. They know how to make a hot compost pile. What's a compost goal?
I'm trying to think of an answer that's not make IMO 5.
I mean, that's what I was thinking you were going to say. Which you kind of already said.
Yeah. It's probably, bring it back to the indigenous microbe realm. If you can take that compost, take it one step further, maybe that means that when you do thermophilic composting, hot composting, the temperature rises and then it kind of fluctuates a little bit, and you need to aerate it and flip it and get all the weed seeds kind of burned off. But then at a certain point, it's going to cool down, and the nitrogen, the available nitrogen has kind of been spent, and it's sort of neutralized as a substance. And that's a viable growing material. But I think at that point, you can then you can saturate it with microbes that can't survive the 130 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. So we've established these thermophilic bacterial cultures. Now let's introduce some more mesophilic bacterial and fungal cultures with Jadon microbial solution. And that sounds really complicated. It's literally just make JMS and pour it over your compost. And the microbes are going to find their way in there. If that's your first, if you've done that, then take it a step further and make IMO 5 by combining your IMO 4 with your compost. And you might even need to take some of it that hasn't fully, like you need a relative amount of nitrogen to be able to heat up your IMO 5. So you need something in there. I'm gonna just confuse people.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I think we have a lot of videos of how to like up your compost game.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I feel like they could just watch one of those.
It's been a long week. Like, it's the end of the.
I know. I had a moment where my brain just sort of went.
It's the first week
and I was
back.
Like, whoa! I need to wake back up. I just painted the bathroom today too, so I smelled a lot of paint fumes, so I might be just a little bit.
Yeah. Totally.
what was I thinking? Oh, bokashi. I was thinking like,
yeah,
if you have made hot compost before, it might be time to figure out your bokashi setup.
Yeah.
So you can start using that in your hot compost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah, because
that would be a great goal.
If you've made a lot of hot compost, you know that the limiting factor is almost always the nitrogen.
Yeah.
So bokashi food scraps or just bokashi, you could bokashi compost or ferment your crop residue, your lawn clippings, your comfrey, and then it's just locked. The nitrogen's locked in, it's preserved and waiting, because you kind of have to stockpile your nitrogen to be able to incorporate with your carbons.
Cool. Okay, what about a liquid or a soil amendment goal for a beginner gardener who wants to try some natural farming techniques?
Yeah. So I'll cover this. This is top of mind. I'll cover this in one of our videos for the following week after this comes out. But I'd say that the first tier of Korean natural farming inputs, as I've really thought about it a lot, is going to be, it's the inputs that you can make within a couple weeks. And most of them, two of them you can make in 1 week. One of them you can buy. So vinegar you can buy. Apple cider vinegar, raw, with the mother, unfiltered, all of that. Get the Kirkland brand from Costco or Bragg's or something. And there's one of your inputs. Yep. Make fermented plant juice. The first, nutrient-dense weeds and plants that spring out of the ground right before the last frost has even come. Take those, mix them up with brown sugar, chop them up, mix them up with brown sugar, and make fermented plant juice. Yep. Lactic acid bacteria. Yep. Pretty straightforward. Just ferment the starch water, ferment it with the milk, strain off the curds. You got the whey, that's your lactic acid bacteria. And then the other two are your water-soluble calcium phosphate and calcium acetate. If you get those 5 inputs, you can do some legitimate, you've kind of you're like set with your Korean natural farming sprays for the season in one sense. Yeah. You can just apply fermented plant juice in the early season and then switch to water-soluble calcium phosphate and acetate for the back end of the season, and then keep vinegar and lactic acid bacteria in there the whole time. And I think that'd be a great place to start. Just those 5 inputs. The next question is, if you've done those, then you want to move forward into the oriental herbal nutrient, and you can bring seawater into the mix if you're not too scared of the salt, which is something that people are really deathly afraid of. As long as you dilute it, it's okay. Not a big deal. You dilute it 1 to 30. And then, what am I missing? Oh, and then your fermented fish amino acids, which I think you can start that anytime too. You can start that now if you want it, but yeah. And then so those are as far as your liquid amendments go, liquid inputs. I think that's great. Already mentioned the Jadong microbial solution, another great one.
Yeah, so I'd say like overall the goals that people could have would be, it's like skills. Yeah. So these are skills that you like pick the skill for the topic and you try it out this season. And just trying this stuff out, you're going to like learn so much from it, and like you're going to be so ready for the next season and so excited to try out what you learned.
I'll just say to the podcast listener that our kids have started listening to the Boxcar Children series. So comment if you ever listen to the Boxcar Children.
Or your parent, or you read them.
Or you read them.
My dad read them to us.
Yeah.
All right. So the goals are, there's skills that you try, you learn from these skills, and then the next season you're just gonna be you're so excited because you're like, I learned all the ways to do this the wrong way. I know how to do this right now, and I'm gonna start off with that, and I know I'm gonna learn more. But it's just like there's just certain things that the more you do it, like I'm getting to the point where the texture of the potting soil is like I can tell if it's gonna be a good potting soil mix, if it's the right ratios, versus it's gonna be too like stodgy and there's like gonna hold too much water and the seeds aren't gonna be able to germinate or whatever. Like I'm starting to be able to tell that, you know. So there's like things that like by feel and touch and like smell and all this stuff.
Totally.
You start to they become intuitive over time, but you have to like do it the wrong way so many times. At least we do. Yeah. To be like, that's why you don't do that. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then you never forget that lesson. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like that's why you set goals, is because then you actually try things and you learn so much. And then you really get it why you don't do something some way and you should do it another way. And you will never, ever forget that. Because it's in your head now. Right. You know?
Which, what you're saying is when you can set tangible goals, set benchmarks for yourself, you have something to shoot for. And then when you don't hit that goal, it's not the end of the world. No. You just need to observe like, oh, that's why. But the thing is, you wouldn't have known that if you hadn't set the goal in the first place, because you wouldn't have gotten close to it. So you need to actually set a benchmark and then measure your progress towards it. Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I just want to take a minute and highlight your book. This is Taylor's book. He wrote this summer, The Home Gardener's Guide to Korean Natural Farming, Natural Inputs for Better Soil, Healthier Crops, and a Regenerative Backyard. It's full of all the Korean natural farming recipes and dilution rates, and it's just great. It's available on Amazon in this paperback form, or you can get it off of our website, thegriffinfamilyfarm.com/the-book.
Also linked in the description, probably.
And also linked, and you can pick up an ebook version of this. So
yeah, go there for either. You can head if you go to that page, griffinfamilyfarm.com/the-book.
Amazon too. Yeah,
you can get the paperback and the ebook. It's up to you. Yeah, and if you have purchased the book, thank you so much for the support. This supports our family. It supports the channel, and also if you have read it and you enjoyed it, or you're enjoying it currently, and you think that it's really valuable and one of the best books that you've ever read, say so on Amazon. Yeah. Just write a review on Amazon. That'd be great. Rank it 5 stars, nothing less. And if you bought it digitally, then please send me a personal review so that we can put that on the website, because it just further validates the book and encourages other people to buy it and learn about these incredible techniques that we think are amazing and super promising and are going to help a lot of people. So
cool. Okay, Q&A. Okay, so this is from the video, The Natural Gardener's Guide to Homemade Fertilizer, Teas, and Ferments. What are your thoughts on utilizing these liquid fertilizers in regards to aquaponics?
Right. So this is a question we've gotten a couple times now. And aquaponics and hydroponics are around the same realm of growing. It's the idea of it's soilless growing. So aquaponics, I think, uses fish, and you feed the fish, and the fish fertilize the water, and you keep it kind of you monitor the pH, and you maybe give a few nutrients here and there, but then the plants grow out of that, and then you get tilapia and herbs or tomato plants or whatever you want to grow. And then hydroponics is just the exact same thing minus the fish, and you introduce plant food into the water. But they're both soilless growing operations, and so the question is, can you use these? Have I done this with the KNF inputs?
What are your thoughts on utilizing these liquid fertilizers in regards to aquaponics?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just pretend as though they said hydroponics and aquaponics. And I would say definitely worth a try. I do know of one person. Actually, someone just sent me a video. So maybe I know I've heard of a couple people now. So they sent me a video recently to check out on the topic. And I've got into it. It's a longer video, and I don't always have time to watch, but I need to listen to it to hear what they have to say about using them in aquaponics or hydroponics. And I think it's super cool, and I want to try it myself.
Mm-hmm. So there is a potential. Okay. Oh, this is from...
In summary, potentially.
From Argyle's Organics. This was a post. I'd be interested in a side-by-side of a plant seed sown into seed raising mix, and the same plant seed in the seed soak also lightly fertilized with FPJ once or twice a week. There may be other cool options like some IMO. Yeah. Keeping mold and smells out of indoor seeds raising has been a goal of mine, mostly achieved by adding worm castings, but FTJ has been a recent addition. I mean, this post was part of the inspiration for my Lysianthus trial.
Yeah, totally.
Because it was like, oh yeah, what would it be like if we fertilized it with FPJ once or twice a week? What would it be like if we did IMO? So I just wanted to shout out to him because
totally.
Them.
Thank you, Argyle's Organics, for commenting that too, for posting that. Super appreciate that. Appreciate the support in general.
And then hopefully we'll have a video coming out about it.
Yeah.
Soon. Not soon, but in a couple months.
When the time is right.
When they've actually germinated. Okay. What is something that you've learned this week? Okay, this question takes you a while.
Oh boy. Okay. Something I've learned this week. So a very simple thing. I was starting to make my biochar, make my charcoal. And I've made it so many times now that I don't really think about it too much, but that was my detriment. And so
he's so loud.
I know we've got our baby starting to wail in the background. Benefit of being parents and podcasters. We'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
And I'll just say what I'm learning. You don't even need to tell anyone what you're learning because it's not much. I'm just kidding.
You're so rude.
What I am learning, and I'll showcase this in a video that we make coming up. But the there's a lot of different things that need to be right. Sorry. There's a lot of factors when it comes to starting a fire, right? Yeah. The wood needs to be cured and needs to be dry when you're first getting it going. And biochar, when you're making activated charcoal that's super, super hot, once you've got a really good blaze and it's like 700 degrees Celsius, then sure, you can throw on less seasoned wood and it'll combust. But when you're first getting started, and especially if it's cold out, you got to make the fire right. And so I was just reminded of that, and I was like, ugh, this sucks to not get this fire started, but I'll be able to showcase it in the video and show people how not to do it. So.
Cool. Well, we're just getting in our podcast here because we've got
a baby wailing,
crying. So thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. And it's not probably tonight
in the morning.
And we'll be back next week with another episode.